We are bringing you an exclusive interview with a detention officer who works at a facility in Cameron County and says they've had to make room for female detainees with the recent surge at the border.
He says people may be surprised to hear things aren't as chaotic as they appear.
We do have it under control.
This detention officer works here at the Port Isabel Detention Center and is speaking exclusively to Action 4 News because he wants the public to know what's going on behind closed doors where he works. Like most immigration officials in the Valley, he's not allowed to speak to the media, so we are disguising his voice to protect his identity.
As a detention officer, has been for about 6 years now, and yes, it's great. I love the job.
Ismael is what we will call him. He says with all the attention on undocumented women and children flooding the border region, every other person entering the U.S. illegally should not be overlooked. Men are also coming over in large numbers.
It's all adults, males.
We weren't allowed to film near the facility. In fact, we were pushed back about half a mile away. But that's not going to stop us from getting you the view of the facility that you deserve.
Cameron County officials granted us exclusive access onto an old airport runway.
It's located directly behind the Port Isabel Detention Center, so we're able to give you a close-up view.
We learned this facility had not held females in years, but now that's changed.
And just till recently, with the influx of people coming in, a lot more females have been accepted there.
The females detained here are without children, different than the moms holding babies, giving themselves up to agents at the border. They are moving here, Ismael says, because every immigration holding facility is spilling over.
The way we're dealing with overcrowding is that when as soon as they're coming in, whether they're from Guatemala or from Honduras, they put them in a separate dorm. That dorm, we already know that they are not giving a uniform, but they are showered and fed all 3 meals.
We spotted several female detainees while our cameras were rolling. They won't stay long, though. Ismael claims there's a revolving door of sorts with detainees volunteering to be deported because they don't want to be incarcerated.
From hours to days, they are deported back to their countries.
He says if they can bond out, they can leave here and take a bus or even a commercial flight if they can afford it on a one-way trip anywhere in the U.S. But just as many women and men are being deported back to their home countries.
Within a 8-hour shift, it could be between 160 to 200 detainees deported a day. As little as maybe 2 busloads, which is about 100. The most would be about 300 in one whole day within a 24-hour period.
Action 4 News requested removal costs from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and they responded saying they don't track the average cost of removal per immigrant, but rather the average life cycle cost per person. These are the shocking tallies they turned over to us. In fiscal year 2013, the average life cycle per immigrant was $8,705. By Ismael's account of the average number of deportees from this facility alone, that's a whopping 1,700,000 and change a day if they get sent back home. And the majority of them are heading to Central America.
That's our 90% of population: Honduras, Guatemala, and Salvador.
The same countries plagued by gang violence, with residents living in fear and fleeing from the notorious Mara Salvatrucha or Sur 18 gangs.
The rumor is a lot of them are coming in, seeking asylum, but they end up being Mara Salvatrucha themselves, or, trying to recruit. Have y'all seen any kind of gang recruitment within the detention center?
We try to immediately limit that. We do have, at this time, at least 5 positive identified gang-affiliated detainees.
But despite that and the addition of female detainees, Ismael maintains they have a handle on things here.
Says there are issues with scabies and tuberculosis, but that there has been no outbreak. Do you think the focus is being taken off all the other facilities holding immigrants because of the surge of women and children? Let's chat about it on Facebook.com/Action4News Marcy and on Twitter at MarcyKGBT.